You said. Good evening, everyone. Before we get started this evening, I would like to ask Sergeant Nelson to come forward to the podium and lead us in our convocation. Good evening, sir. Thank you.
Talk about short notice, so short prayer. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this school district. We thank you for everyone who serves in this district, Lord. Lord, I just ask for blessings upon all of them, all the way from our janitorial staff to our support staff, our teachers, Lord, the school board. Lord, I just ask for blessings upon them as they try and speak into young people's lives, Lord, and help us to honor your word as it says, train up a child in a way they should be, and when they are old, they will not depart from it, Lord. Help us to remember that. And Lord, as this meeting goes forth tonight, help it to be productive and be in the best interest of the children, Lord, because that's what we're here for, is the children. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you very much. And with that, I will call the meeting to order with Randy Long, Joe Blackwood, Matt Sampson, Colonel Little, and myself, Tori Turnbow, present. Takes us straight to the presentation of colors. If everyone would please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and I will turn it over to Mrs. Johnson for our recognitions.
And this is one of my favorite evenings because we are going to recognize some students from some of our schools for American Education Week. And so the first student that I would like to call up is Annalise Pfeiffer, from Coolidge Elementary School. Annalise, come here, sweetie. What grade are you in, Annalise?
I'm in 5th grade.
Awesome. All right, here, share with the board why you love your school.
My name is Annalise Pfeiffer, and I go to Coolidge Elementary. I like the colors blue and white, and I have 4 siblings. I have 2 pets, and I really enjoy drawing and reading. My favorite subjects are math and reading. I am in Action, also known as the Gifted and Talented program. I really enjoy 5th grade, and I am so sad I'm not going to be here next year. I've been in Coolidge for 6 years, and I have had a wonderful time at this wonderful school. The staff are so kind and do their very best at their job. The teachers are so nice and make learning fun. The principal and vice principal are so sweet and encouraging. I would love to thank all of the teachers who have helped me throughout my life in this amazing school. Thank you for letting me speak to you tonight.
Annalise, that was awesome. Come here, I want to take your picture right over there. With the principal and vice principal, like to get in there too. You got it. Awesome. Oh, very good. Great job. You know, that has to be a lot for a 5th grader to stand up in front of a bunch of grown-ups. Annalise, you did a great job. Our next student is from Emerson Middle School. It is Haley Vasquez Campbell. Haley? Share with us why you love your school.
Hi, my name is Haley Vasquez Campbell, and Emerson's a really great school. The teachers are super nice, and they help us with a lot of things. and our principals are wonderful. Our staffs are really good. The school cafeteria ladies, they're really nice and good too. And our school has a lot of great things. We have a new principal, Miss Heathman, and she's really nice and she's really good at making our school better, and she's been helping a lot.
Excellent. What is something that you're involved in at school?
I do volleyball, soccer, and I'm in the National Honor Junior Society.
Excellent. Are you an 8th grader?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're
You did a
welcome.
great job, Haley. We want to take your picture too. Our next student is from Enid High School, Brianna Glover. Brianna. Glover. Oh, I said it wrong. Oh. I went and practiced Annalisa's. I am sorry, dear.
You're fine. Hey, hello. Okay. First, I'd like to say good evening, everybody. I'm Brianna Glover, and I would like to thank you for inviting me today to speak tonight. So first off, I stand here today not only as a student, but as a voice representing the collective aspirations of my peers. Firstly, I'd like to talk about education. It is, to me, the cornerstone of personal and societal development. Education exposes us to diverse subjects, cultures, and ideas. It challenges us to think critically, to question, and to evolve. It cultivates essential skills such as communication, problem solving, and adaptability. Skills that not only are vital in academia, but are the foundation of success in the professional world. In the halls of Enid High, I've discovered a diverse array of educational opportunities that extend far beyond the traditional subjects, from extracurricular activities to specialized programs that cater to individual interests. My school embraces a holistic approach to education. Enid High understands the importance of adaptability in the 21st century. I've actively engaged with the opportunities that Enid High has to offer. I'm in 4 different organizations: the Black Heritage Union, I'm currently the president of that, the Native American Student Association, I'm Choctaw, the National Honor Society, and the Principals Advisory Committee. I'm also a part of the National Society of High School Scholars. That's an international group that helps with like scholarships and just really the academia side of everything. And then I'm also a member of the student mentor group that was put together for freshman students to like help their way through whatever they need, just as their first year in high school. It can be a little scary sometimes. And then academically, throughout the 4 years I've attended, I've taken honors classes in every subject, taken AP classes, and I'm currently enrolled in the Northern Oklahoma College, NOC, through concurrent enrollment. I'm taking my basics to save money for university. I plan to attend the University of Oklahoma, and I'm going to major in business. And through concurrent enrollment, I'm actually taking an intro to business course, and I'm so thankful that I can do that. Enid High, they provide so many scholarships and ways to get scholarships for that, and I'm so grateful for that. Okay, and to end off, like through the years of Enid High, it's allowed me to learn an environment with diverse cultures and individuals while engaging in many opportunities to better my community, my school, and most importantly, myself. Therefore, I'm proud to call myself a Enid High student. And I'd like to thank Mr. Liddell for reaching out, and the staff at Enid High is just very welcoming. I really feel like I belong, and I just want to shout out to them. And thank you.
And our last student is a representative from Lincoln Academy, Mystery Peak. Mystery? She was one of my Garfield kiddos.
Hi, my name is Miss Street, and I am currently attending my first and last semester of high school of my senior year at Lincoln Alternative. And I'd like to start off by expressing my gratitude for being chosen to speak about my journey with Lincoln. I first came to Lincoln as a junior, and one thing was made clear to me at the beginning, which is you're only here because you choose to be. When I think about Lincoln, school isn't the label I'd put on it. I'd put community to it. Lincoln is full of hardworking students and faculty members that all come together to make our school cooperable in a way. We all come from very different backgrounds, and we're all there for very different reasons, but we all stay for one thing, which is the unconditional support and love that we get from our faculty members. Each day, I always go in there, and I'm low-key always in my head for no reason. But I know I can always count on my staff members and Mr. Parker and Miss Morris and other students and teachers to always be there for me. And recently, we painted pumpkins for Greenbrier Village, and I really enjoyed that so much. And it was honestly really fun. Me and my group, we did a Dia de los Muertos pumpkin, which is the Day of the Dead one. We went all out with decorations. We had really colorful ones. We even made like candles from like the colorful paper, and it was great. But my favorite part about that is how Mr. Parker considered everybody when choosing groups. I had told him that my friend and I, Alexis, we wanted to be together in a group because we kind of do everything together for our last semester there. And he agreed to count numbers, and he told us to just give him a moment to figure it out. Eventually he did, and when later students had came in and other people, they're like, we want to be with our friends too. He was doing that. He was running up and down our hallway very frantically, counting students, rearranging everybody, trying to make everybody comfortable due to his own expenses. I really appreciate everything Lincoln does for me. And one thing that really hurts me a lot is when people tell me that Lincoln is for bad kids. Lincoln is not for bad kids. As I've said, it is full of hardworking students. Everybody there is there to better their own education for themselves, or even parents. We have some students there who have kids who are there because they love their children and they want to do better for them. And with Mr. Parker, you can do that. He allows you to do those things, and he recognizes that things happen in your life as a parent. And you can do what you need to do at Lincoln very smoothly. And I'm very thankful to be a Lincoln survivor and proud to have enjoyed the luxury that is Lincoln, because I came to Lincoln at a very dark point of my life, and I felt like I had nothing left. But with Lincoln, they gave me light, and they helped me through a lot of things. And they even got me into archery, and I'm still trying to decide what I want to do after I graduate, which is next month on the 16th. So very soon, but I know that they will help me figure it out no matter what. Even after graduation, a year later, come back, I need it, they will always be there, because that is what Lincoln is. It's not just a school, but it is a family, and it's a bond, and that's why I love Lincoln. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Oh, I recognized you earlier. I was like, oh my God, Ms. Johnson.
Well, get out of there. Let's have your picture. All right, the next piece of our recognitions tonight is the American Education Week poster contest, and I'm going to let Miss Erin Caffey tell us about our winners.
Sorry, I'm a little teary-eyed. I'm a teacher at Lincoln Academy, so my heart just... I'm Erin Caffey, as I was stated. I'm Enid Education Association's president this year. Tonight we want to recognize 3 students in the district. For their artistic abilities, we asked the students to create a picture of what they felt made their school the best, why they loved their school, or even what it meant to be stronger together. The winners will receive a copy of their picture in a poster format and $30. So, our first winner is Melanie Incarnation, please. She is a third grader in Miss Nicolin's class at Garfield. For picture purposes, this is Melanie. She's so sweet. She's over here. I'm gonna take a picture. Parents, if you want to come take a picture, please do so. I think guardian. All right, our next winner is Emma McCarter. She's a fourth grader at Eisenhower in Miss Long's class. There you are. There you are. All right, and last but certainly not least, we have an eighth grader from Waller Middle School, Pagalu Lowiak. I just want to say thank you to the teachers and the students for their submissions and allowing for us to present this at your meeting tonight. Thank you.
Next, I'm going to let Mr. Scott Mansfield come and tell us about our all-state recognition that we have, along with our POM coach, Melissa Hunt.
But before we get rolling, tough acts to follow with those 4 young kids and those 3 artistic kids, and then I have to go try to set that standard, but I'm going to do the best that I can. But with me tonight, I have Miss Emma Holland right here. Mom, Dad, grandmother, will you please come up here as well? Also with us, head coach Melissa Hunt, assistant coach Casey Cox. Emma is a 4-year POM member with Enid High School and is coached by Melissa Hunt and Casey Cox. Emma is a 2-time All-American dancer with the UDA, which is the camp that the POM team attends in the summer. Emma has been dancing with Hype Dance Productions since she was 4 years old. Emma is an officer with National Honor Society, Platinum E, FCA, and a member of STUCO and Enid High Rhythm and Blue Show Choir. She is also lettered in softball and in cross country. She is ranked 9th in her class of 500. For All-State Dance Team, Emma had to learn and audition dance with hip-hop, jazz, POM, and kicks. She's had to practice and clean the dance at her own practice time, but with the help of Mr. Prokopis and the video production department, she performed the dance in the EHS basketball gym, submitted and judged by a panel by the Oklahoma State Dance Team Directors Association. She made the All-State team and the All-Region West team. She must attend mandatory practices in Norman, Tulsa, and learn the upcoming performance dances. She will perform this dance with other All-State dancers at the OSD TDA Palm State competition in Tulsa on December 10th. Would you like to say anything? Okay.
I just want to thank everyone for all your support, and I'm excited to represent Enid next month at All-State.
And our last recognition of the evening is for our Enid Public Schools United Way campaign winners. We as Enid Public Schools feels it's important to give back, and we give back to our community and donating to United Way, and so we have a little competition. And so our small school division winner goes to Hayes Elementary School, and Ms. Jarnigan is here to accept that plaque. And our large school division winner goes to Waller Middle School. Mr. Rob Mills is here to accept. And the department division went to Property Services this year, and Mr. Ron Garrison is here to accept for Property Services. And I believe overall we raised over...
I think it was over $10,000, isn't that right?
Yes, yeah. Correct, over $10,000. So thank you. That's all the recognitions for the evening.
I appreciate everybody contributing to that. But yeah, $10,000 from the staff speaks a lot. So it's a job well done.
Thank you. Now moving forward, it takes us to audience to visitors, and we had nobody sign up tonight. So Dr. Darrow, it's time for the superintendent's report.
Well, I will go to 3A. The first thing up, as Mrs. Johnson and Mrs. Caffey have already mentioned previously, this is American Education Week, and this is a good time to pause and say thank you to all of our educators that we have in the district. And I wrote them an email this past week telling them thank you for being an educator and thank you for choosing Enid Public Schools. And on top of that, Ms. Johnson's been giving out coins today and tomorrow for all of our employees that have worked for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. So just pretty awesome group of people we work with every day. So if you get a chance, tell them thank you. And also, not only is it Education Week, but it's also Education Support Appreciation Day. So support employees, and that'll be Wednesday the 15th of this week also. So just want to make sure to put that on everybody's radar. Moving on to item B, I just want to tell you about enrollment numbers. Our enrollment numbers actually went backwards a little bit. We're back to more towards that September number at 7636, which is still up from where we started the year, but we did drop a little bit after October. But again, we're very healthy, 7,636 kids, still healthy enrollment, which is good. Item C, just want to take a little bit of time and talk about inclement weather if and when this does happen. We are experiencing great weather right now, but unfortunately we probably will not all winter long. I will tell you that this is definitely one of my least favorite parts of the job, is having to get up early and make this decision. But we've got a plan in place. Mrs. Johnson's got a plan in place. We'll communicate that out as quickly as we possibly can to our students, families, as well as our staff members. And also we have to work with NOC and Autry and the various pieces. And then we have to also work with Dr. Robinson and Mr. Garrison on our custodian crew. So just want to let you guys know we are prepared and we're ready for it. And one other thing I might just add, it's the snow. We can really manage the snow. The snow is not the problem. 2 or 3 inches of snow is not that bad, but we get a little bit of ice and things get real dicey real quick. And we have so many steps across the district. We have parking lots. So anyways, we're prepared. Not looking forward to it, but we are prepared for it. Moving on to item D, the bond committee updates. I'd like to talk to you guys a little bit. Then I've asked Dr. Robinson to speak on the financial portion of this. You should have a flyer looking like this at your place. And I've sent this to you digitally. This has been updated with our projections. If you can look down there on the bottom right, what it would look like for an average household in Enid is about $93,000, and that would be just short of $4.57 a month. But going back to the committee, we had a very good meeting last month. We have one scheduled for this last Wednesday, November. Also, we spoke to several civic organizations, Rotary, MBUCS, the Chamber. I think everyone's very optimistic up to this point. Everyone's very supportive of the school system. Going over the numbers that Dr. Robinson is going to go over a little bit more detail, but we're looking at $700,000 for student technology, $300,000 for transportation, and $200,000 for security. And I want to talk just briefly about that. When you talk about $700,000 for student technology, a Chromebook that all those kids have, it's $250 a piece. And so that adds up very quickly. You don't have to get very many. We're in the thousands of dollars real quick. Same with transportation. $300,000 is what we've kind of ear tagged for transportation. This year, if you've bought a vehicle lately, you know the prices have gone up dramatically. And this year we'd be able to buy 2 yellow buses, but next year we'd only be able to buy maybe 1.5 for $300,000. So saying all that, Dr. Robinson's got some proposals to go over. If you don't mind, Sam, would you talk a little bit about the millage and where this would play out?
All right, so there's 2 documents here. We're going to start with the small document and work our way up to the big one. So the small document, we were working off of numbers previously from actually last year's certified valuations by the county assessor. Now that all the new evaluations and everything's been certified, protests are kind of free and clear. We do have some updated numbers. And the numbers I'm showing here are actually for FY24 on this short page, and it has to do with average market value of a house in Enid. And so there's not to bore everybody with how our taxes are assessed, but this document on the bottom that has the graph on it, that's the actual assessor document. So I didn't want anybody to think that I made this up on my own. You're not going to find that $1,696,000,000 figure below because it doesn't exist on the assessor's page. You have to actually take and divide by 12.5% to come up with that $1 billion because of how property is assessed in Oklahoma and in Garfield County. And so average market value, so we have market value at that $1.6 billion. You have 18,000 residential units in Enid, and so that gives you an average home price of $93,944. Now, I'm going to give you this disclosure. Realtors might disagree with that. People in your neighborhood might disagree with that, but that's just a raw number based on the county assessor's data that they provide. And then you go down to commercial property, same formulation was used there, $674 million in commercial property valuation. There's 1,847 properties, divide that out, you end up with average commercial property at $364,000, almost $365,000. Again, a realtor could disagree, a lot of people could disagree with those numbers, but that's raw data. That's really the impact that's going to be to the taxpayer based on when you're looking at averages in our school district. So that's that small page right there. The big page shows across the top there, that is a new bond issue, the old bond issue, which the old one where we have to play with that till 2031, 2032 for sure. And it shows what the increase in millage would be. And so the millage value, when we first started this, kind of looking at numbers over a year ago, what would it look like? We were really thinking we were going to be in that 3 mil range, but with increases in interest rates, that's why we're seeing an increase in millage, kind of topping out at that 4.54 mils for an increase over what we're already paying in millage. So why not to panic on that? That's what the next piece to the bottom right is, not the green and the yellow, but to the piece to the right. So for a house value at $100,000, your monthly increase would be $4.57. Here's the very interesting news on this. Last year's valuations that we were estimating off of, I believe, had this at $5 and a nickel.
Yep.
And so that number's come down almost 50 cents. That's the possibility that could happen. There's a lot of unknown factors when you're looking at a small bond like this. You run on a 2-year series. Where do interest rates lie? What is property valuations going up in our community? So there's a lot of unknowns. One thing we know pretty certain is that property valuations are not decreasing. We have no historical pattern of property valuations going down. So as long as property values continue to increase, that millage number could drop down. That cost per taxpayer could drop down. Again, those are speculations. There's nothing that can be given in a fact with that. So tell you what this green and yellow box is. You can't really read it, I realize, in this printout. It's pretty small print. This is just saying Sam Robinson did not create these numbers on his own. He is not a bond expert. Stephen H. McDonald, Ron Fisher, who helps us, bond advisor, he actually came up with all these calculations. And the main thing is that you can see those same millage numbers reflected on the bottom in that orange line. Hopefully you can see that maybe. They're reflected up there in my top Excel document that was copied over there. So I didn't want anybody to think that I did this all on my own, and how does he know? He's not an expert. He just pays the bills for Enid Public Schools. We did go to a qualifying expert to get this information to present to you guys tonight. So if there's any questions on that, definitely take them at this point in time. Before I do that, I do want to make a comment, because it's been said to me, it's been said in some meetings, why aren't you guys asking for more money? Why aren't you asking for $10 million a year? Why aren't you asking to do this and do that? I think the thing to remember is this is not about wants, this is about need, and this is what we need to keep our students at the level we've come to expect. This is what we need to continue being, hopefully, a district of choice for our students. This is what we need to keep technology in our hands. There's a lot of things we want. There's a lot of things we want to do differently in our district, a lot of things we want to spend more money, but we don't need to spend more money. We just need to do this to keep our students, to keep things in a place where we all feel good and we continue building on the success that we had in the past. We continue building on that into the future. So to me, we're not trying to be greedy. We're not trying to overtax our taxpayers. We just want to make sure our students remain competitive and are prepared for the future the best that we can get them there.
Hey, Dr. Robinson, too, just on this millage, we explored several different options and settled that this was the best one, and that was through the committee's feedback. They wanted us to explore some, and we thought this was the best one, especially with the so high interest rates right now, correct?
That's right. Yeah, we actually looked at what would it look like if we just borrowed $12 million.
Yeah.
And I'm using the term borrow pretty loosely because it's a term most people understand, is that if we just took and got $12 million up front, so we're going to carry that $12 million for 10 years, we're going to pay we're going to spend 1.2 of it over time. The interest rate and the millage on that was, I wouldn't say significantly higher, but it was high enough to say that's not the way we want to go. Plus, you're locked into current interest rates. And let's all hope that what the feds did this last month, they kind of held interest rates at the same level, that continues. If interest rates were to continue going up, which there's potential for that, there is still an economic report coming out, then you could potentially get locked into that higher interest rate down the road. We all hope they start creeping back. So as a creep back on 2-year series, like you guys are very familiar with on our 2010 and 2016 bonds, on that 2-year series, we're hoping to capture a lower interest rate in the future is the long-term goal with this. So as interest rates hopefully settle at 5%, maybe they'll creep back to that 3% range, then we can take advantage of that and actually have lower millage, have a lower repayment, and those kind of things. We did look at both a 10-year repayment and a 15-year repayment. Our bond advisor said he's only ever done one 15-year repayment in his history of doing this. He's been doing it for a long time. Is for a municipality that really was in a struggling financial condition. And he said so your repayment cost is just that much higher the longer term you spread it out. We might all think, well, you get less per year to pay it back if you do it over 15, but really you only have that money up front, and then you're still paying on something 5 years after the money is not coming in anymore. So that's where that cost comes from.
Yeah. Any questions? Leadership team, do we touch on everything? Think so? All right. Well, like I said, we're going to continue pushing this and continue having these conversations, and next committee meeting the Wednesday after Thanksgiving. Okay. Takes us to item E, and this is an action item, and I definitely seek your approval on this one. This will be Enid Public Schools 24-25 school calendar. And it's very, very similar to the current calendar that we have already. It parallels Autry's calendar. And excited to get this thing approved so we can start planning for next year and get our professional development days. And Mr. Rader has taken the lead on this and appreciate him doing so. Mr. Rader, do you want to talk a little bit about it? Or?
It's pretty straightforward. Like Dr. Darrow said, we kind of have, because of our contract parameters, we don't want to start too early or too late in August, and we don't want to finish too early or too late in May, so it kind of locks us into a couple different things. Dr. Darrow also did say we align with Autry on this. Our spring breaks align, so kids There are a few days at the beginning and end of the year that kids may have to be going to Autry, but that's just because they have a little bit longer calendar than we do. This has been vetted by the teachers, and we've had a member of the school board look at it as well. So it's gone through the committee process. We feel like we've got a pretty good calendar.
I seek your approval.
With that, do I have a motion to approve the school calendar as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Matt Sampson, second by Joe Blackwood. I would just like to notate on here, this is good news for parents and teachers. November 1st will be a holiday for students.
That was not on accident.
It's happened in the past, and it's always been highly appreciated. Okay, with that, Randy Long. Yes. Joe Blackwood.
Yes.
Matt Sampson.
Yes.
And Tori Turnbow is a yes. The vote carries.
Thank you all for that. And the last thing on the superintendent's report is part of our strategic plan, and that is academic performance and accountability. 2 weeks ago, we brought in all of our principals, and they did an academic report of their school site. Mr. Long actually sat in with us one day. I think it was very, very beneficial to have the principals dig into their data, report back to the current reality, the current strengths, the current weaknesses. And I will tell you that we've got a lot of good things going on across the district, I promise you. We have some areas to improve on. We know that too, and we're working hard on those areas. But there are just so many positive things going on, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Rhodes and Mr. Prater.
All right, I guess, are we still on? All right. So like Dr. Darrow said, the presentations over the 2 days were very, very good. It's 3 days, wasn't it, actually? So it was very good. Each one of our schools are very diverse, and so a one-size-fits-all does not work, and we all know that. So I appreciate the teams of teachers and the administrators that looked into their data and made some decisions on that. Dr. Darrow and the executive leadership team set a goal this year for a 10% increase on our reading goals across the district. And at the elementary level, the way we're going to measure that is that we're looking at the ISIP, which is the test that they take each month whenever they log into iStation, and kind of helps kids know where they're at. One of the things that I'm going to give you a percentage that we're shooting for, and it seems really low, but we want 29% of our students to score at the 70th percentile on ISIP in April. And the reason that seems low is we've found over the last 2 or 3 years that the 70th percentile on the ISIP actually will, if kids score in the 70th percentile, there's almost 100% correlation that they will also pass the Oklahoma State testing. And in the past, we've really looked at the 40th percentile because that's between 40 and 60% is considered average. But that's not getting us the pass rate that we want on the OSTP. So we're really focusing on that 70th percentile. One of the things that we are proud about, we know that if kids aren't achieving in reading, especially by the 3rd grade level, that they're going to struggle for a really long time. And through our RSA, 73% of our 3rd graders meet criteria for automatic promotion to 4th grade. So that means that they did one of two things. They either met a 475 on the ISIP, because if they get a 475 at any point, they're automatically meet that promotion criteria. And also if they meet criteria on the OSTP. So usually it's one or the other. Usually it's both, but a student can automatically promote through one of those two ways. And 73% is a pretty good rate for us. I want to go over real quickly some of our state our scores compared to the state. This is where we know we have some work. We're not far off from the state average in most areas. We are lower in our reading score than the state in Enid. They're at 59%, we're at 48%, but by 4th and 5th grade, we're showing 59% compared to 54%, and the state's at 70% compared to our 65%. So the margin there is pretty negligible when you look at those. In math, again, we're pretty close to the state average in 3rd grade. They're at 68% state, we're at 60%, 4th grade 69%, and 66% for us, and then the state in 5th grade is 69%, and 67%. So again, we'd like to be above the state and everything, but if you're just right there within striking distance, we feel pretty good, especially given some of the demographics that we have in Enid. Our science state score, and this is only a 5th grade score at the elementary level, but science is at 73% for the state, and for Enid at 71%. So feel good about that. The one measure that I like to look at, and I know all of our kids come to us at different levels, and at the elementary level, really at any level, but I really feel like at the elementary level, it really is about growth and where our kids came from and where we're taking them to. And so pretty proud of a lot of our scores there. On iStation, there is a report that gives us a growth rate, and right now I'm drawing a blank on what that is, although 99.9% of the other time I could probably tell you exactly what that was, but I'm drawing a blank. But in reading, our growth rate for all of our kindergarten kids is 65%, and in math it's 100%. Very proud of that. In 1st grade, our growth rate is 92%. And when I'm talking about growth rate, I'm talking about moderate to high growth rate, which moderate gives us a year for a year, and anything high gives us more than a year's growth in a year's time. So if it wasn't moderate or high, it's not considered in this. 2nd grade, 80% in reading, and again, math is 100%. 3rd grade, we had 100% of our 3rd graders meet that moderate or high growth, which is outstanding in reading. However, in math, it went down to 30%. I don't really know what that anomaly is. It's really kind of strange to see that. I don't know if it's because there's such a focus in math in 3rd grade to get those kids over that hurdle. In reading. 4th grade, we dropped down to 60% growth, which still is above average, but would like to see that a little bit higher. Again, at that 3rd and 4th grade, from 3rd grade to 4th grade, the test changes a little bit, and so I think that accounts for some of that. But the thing that I don't like, but I'm going to report it because it's part of our data, is our math results are at 0% moderate to high growth, which when you look at the other numbers and look at those kids as the cohort from the year before, those numbers are a lot higher. So I don't know what that anomaly is. We've got to dig into that a little bit deeper. 5th grade, our reading bounces back to 88%, which is great for 5th graders, and then our math bounces back to 100%. So again, that tells me that there's an anomaly in there. Just kind of need to dig into that data a little bit more. But that's the elementary academic report that I have for you. If you have any questions.
I just have a comment. Because of getting to attend that, I was just really blown away by all of the data that they do have and the way they embraced that and made what I felt like was a very sincere effort to try to meet the goals set by the administration. And you talked about the deficiencies, to basically own those and admit those, and I was just very impressed with with you all and with the teachers and principals in the way that they approached that.
Well, and I thank you for saying that, because our teachers and our administrators do own the data, and they take it very seriously, and they get frustrated when they don't see the results they want, especially when you see all of the hard work that they put into it, because there aren't very many people that work harder than teachers and administrators at the building level. So I appreciate you saying that.
Thanks, Mr. Rader. Dr. Rhodes.
So at the secondary level, it is somewhat different as far as what we're looking at. The high school, middle school, and high school. The middle school, they look at academic growth, but at the high school, we have to look at post-secondary opportunities and our dropout and everything, and that has all been pulled from the ACT. So there's several discrepancies with that. But first off, we have our district goal as far as increase our reading and then meet our attendance rate. So I will say across secondary, all of our chronic absenteeism went up quite a bit. Several of them went from Fs to Bs or Fs to Ds. So that has been, I would say, also helpful by adding our school safety resource officers who have helped go out and work those truancies and make parents be more accountable as well as getting their kids to school. So kudos to you all for allowing us to expand our school safety resource office. Our campus goals are obviously to increase our GE, increase our math, and school security and safety. So to address our reading and to help with our academic growth for all of our English is we've added some other additional resources. So at the high school we added an additional RTI interventionist to work with our kids that are not meeting the standards to help them bridge those gaps. And we added an additional ELD teacher at the high school, which focuses on working with our English language learners. And since we have an increase in our newcomers and our population, actually, I think tomorrow we'll be sitting at 30. Am I right, Leslie? 30 newcomers just at the high school for secondary, and then we have 6 middle school kids. So that is probably double, wouldn't you say, since last year and inception? So that is another reason why we've added those ELD classes to help with our kids to bridge that gap. And then with our special ed numbers, we've dedicated reading intervention classes with that group of students at the high school level. The middle school is looking at keys to literacy to focus on comprehension skills, and then on all areas we're increasing the rigor and the quality of the depth of knowledge questions that we're asking our students to set our bar higher. Even though we're not performing where we want them to perform, we feel like we've got to raise the rigor so that kids will meet that expectation. And then I will just say, I think helping with the new curriculum for ELA has made a huge difference in the secondary, and having that curriculum there for them to work on. And so for our math part, we are starting that process of math adoption this coming year. So those will be some areas I think will help us with growth and getting everyone on the same page, using the same curriculum so that it builds and continues to grow. One of the other things I think is really going to help the math of the secondary is we're in a pilot program with OSU and the Brock Foundation with Khan Academy. And we have 6 teachers going through this pilot program and 580 geometry students. And so that, I think, too, will help increase our math scores as we move forward. We're really kind of excited to see that. As far as celebrations, middle school increased science OSTP scores across the board. The high school increased their WETA scores, which is our EL. And then, like I said, all of them increased their chronic absenteeism. We still have areas to grow. We still have some challenges that we're going to continue to work on, and that's math at both middle school and high school levels. And then even though we showed some great gains in reading at the middle school, we still have some further ways to increase that as well. Just some additional notes. We increased our concurrent enrollment with NOC and Autry for this year. And I will just say from summer school, what we gave last year, what the students came in, they recovered 241 courses for 151 students. So those were numbers that we could count into this year to not have students making up so many classes. So that has really been a positive for us. And then a shout out to the middle schools and the high schools. They tested almost 1,800 students last week with the pre-ACT, and then we did a naturalization test. But we also took a virtual day that day for our juniors and seniors, and we took buses to NOC Enid, Alva, Edmond, UCO, and Autry. So we have a lot of great things happening. We have a lot more work to do, but I would say that we have a very dedicated staff as far as even hiring emergency and adjunct teachers, every site is really working with their teachers to make them the best that they can be, because that it all affects student learning and achievement.
Any questions for Dr. Rhodes? Thank you, Dr. Rhodes. Thank you, Mr. Rader. And that is all the superintendent's report.
Perfect. Takes us to item 4, regular business. We can take item 4A, 1 through 5 for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Matt Sampson. Second by Randy Long. Is there any discussion? And we will take a vote. Randy Long?
Yes.
Joe Blackwood?
Yes.
Matt Sampson?
Yes.
Tori Turnbow? Yes. The motion carries. Item 4B, discussion then possible action to approve the district financial report for October 2023. Dr. Robinson?
Well, not to give you the same old good news, but it is good news. But a question was asked of me before the meeting about POs. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about POs if you're okay with that. Kind of impromptu here. So we've talked a lot about one-time expenditures. Kind of, we're in this last roll of the ESSER funds, and so here's a couple of one-time expenditures that are kind of part of this finance report, part of the encumbrances. Sprinkler system at Emerson and Lincoln, new sod, the city put in for us, new sidewalk, new roads, so we need to take care of all that stuff. There are a few patches that we kind of were waiting on the city to finish that we need to add new grass into, but that is a $65,000 cost to the district. But you have to remember, we're going all the way from the east side of Lincoln all the way to the west side of Emerson. That's a whole block of water, and so going to make that place really look nice. Turf at Fowler. When we turfed the Fowler playground initially, we only did a portion of it. We are going to go ahead and finish the rest of that playground, because that playground does hold a lot of water because of how flat the surface is over there on the east side of town. $45,000 in additional cost to turf that playground to wrap up that. So they'll have an all-weather, all-the-time playground by doing that. Pitching mounds. This might sound like a really interesting piece, but we're responsible for David Allen and the pitching mounds that are there. And these are the bullpen mounds that you warm up on. The mounds that we have there were purchased about 4 or 5 years ago. One of them already has a hole worn in it because they're made out of fiberglass. One of the initiatives that I've really kind of pressed the issue on is how do we get ourselves to be more maintenance-free down the line, so that way there's not continued cost with that, even if it is 5 or 10 years down the line. So we could go buy a brand new fiberglass mound with turf on it, about $18,000 for one of those. We paid about $15,000 for those 4 or 5 years ago. We have a company called Hellas who put in our turf at the football stadium. They're doing the turf at Fowler for us. $26,000 for a concrete mound with turf on it. So a little bit more cost than we would have with a fiberglass mound, but we all know what's not going to happen to concrete. You're not going to wear a hole in it in 5 years. It's going to be there in probably 50 years, but we will have to put new turf on it, but that's no different than what we already expect. So we're actually getting those $26,000 a piece for two pitching rubbers, 2 home plates to warm up off of. So again, while we're spending a little bit of money today, 5 years from now, we're not going to be talking about buying a new pitching mound at David Allen. So really cost savings by doing that. Again, Freightliner that we talked about, that purchase you guys approved, that's on the POs. $109,000 is our cost. That is actually going to be here on Wednesday is the expected delivery date. So we're a little bit ahead of schedule on that, which is great news for all of our winter and spring trips coming up. And then this is pretty minor when it comes to these expenditures I just went over, but it's a big deal. Prairie View had a bunch of bollard lights on the both the north and south side of the campus. Several of those have had some problems over the years. That school's about 10 years old. They light up the sidewalk at night and in the evenings. As you know, it's getting darker earlier. They have events out there. In the mornings it was dark. Some of those were not working, so we spent $17,000 to replace all of the ones on the north side of Prairie View, and then we used the ones that were working to make everything good on the south side of Prairie View. So keeping that lighting up to date. The ones on the north side, I'm going to say, are probably going to get us 15 or more years down the road because they're that much better quality than what was put in the original construction. So just to kind of highlight a couple of those things, the last thing I want to mention is, because this is a big deal, we talk about fund balance a lot, and I take a lot of pride in fund balance. Some people are like, you don't need to have that much money. But let me tell you what fund balance does for you in a interest-rich environment that we're currently in. And I know it's only 5%, but hey, we're earning more than 5% on our money right now. This year alone, from July 1st through October 31st, in the general fund alone, we have earned $182,000 in interest. That's no burden to the taxpayer. That's no burden to anybody except for the bank. We're very thankful for the bank for paying that interest rate to us. Some of that is U.S. Treasury money that's come in, so you could say some of that money is the federal government's paid to us. But $182,000 of money that's based on the savings we've had, that's really free money. And we just talked about earlier, we could buy a brand new bus for that $182,000. That could pay up to 3 teacher salaries if we really needed to go down that route. So there's many, many things that we can do with that money. And I think it's important to remember that when we talk about savings and cost savings, that really those savings are going to give us dollars that we can plow back into expenditures in the school district. It's just we have to be smart about that. So while we might have $20 million in the bank, we have to remember that we might actually generate close to $1 million this year in interest alone off of that we can use to pay for these projects that I just listed off to you guys. So finances are in good shape. I hope that, I don't know, I'm trying to bring something a little bit to you guys every month. Maybe it's like, oh, wow, I didn't know we were doing that. But I think it's important to do these kind of things. And I get excited about finance. I know finance isn't exciting to everyone else, but that's the world I live in. So I want to bring some of that joy to you guys, because everything we spend money on, I'm going to say 99% of it impacts students on a daily. And as long as we're spending money in that direction, in my opinion, we're doing the right thing. And that 1% that I'm going to say might be for some things that happen in this building. You could actually correlate things that happen in this building impact students on a daily, so therefore you could say 100% of our funds are impacting students on a daily basis when you really take a look at it. So that's my, I guess, my minute of talking to you guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
That was great. Do I have a motion to approve the financial report as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Joe Blackwood. Sorry, Joe. Blinked for a second. Do I have a second? Second by Randy Long. Any further discussion? I thank you, Dr. Robinson, because you do a good job of reminding us that there are good things that we do with it. Okay, we'll take a vote. Randy Long.
Yes.
Joe Blackwood.
Yes.
Matt Sampson.
Yes.
Tori Turnbow. Yes, and the motion carries. Item 4C, discussion and possible action to approve Lane Well Drilling, Inc. for the purchase and installation of playground turf for McKinley Elementary to replace the existing grass playground based on submitted proposals from November 2nd and for a total price not to exceed $159,979. Dr. Robinson.
Well, I know I just talked to you guys about turfing Fowler for 45. McKinley's much bigger. McKinley, it's a big playground, but it's not. It's our smallest playground in the district, actually. They've worn that down to dirt. There's no reason for kids to be playing on dirt. We could resod it. We could put a sprinkler system in. You're probably looking at $90,000 in expenditures. Again, this is that long-term cost savings. So let's spend $159,000, put turf on there. I'll come back to you guys in 15 years and say, hey, we need to put a new surface of turf on it. I have no idea what that's going to cost that time, but the long-term savings we'll realize from turf, the long-term benefit to our students, to me, this expenditure is well worth it to take care of our smallest playing surface that we have in the district for an elementary school. So that $159,000, that's in and out, new turf. Hopefully we'll start that project after the Christmas break.
Can I interject real quick? Dr. Robinson, we were at Coolidge the other day where we just got through turfing, and after the heavy rains, and those kids were using that area to go out for recess.
Right.
So the muddy weather, the rains, the snows, all that, just want to echo what Dr. Robinson said. It's way, way, way maintenance free.
Yeah,
for sure.
Can I tell you what my big worry is that Sherry Hendry out at Prairie View is going to be like, Sam, look what you did at McKinley, come turf our playground. That's a couple of soccer fields worth. I don't know if we can get there, but they can rotate around at Prairie View. So anyways.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Do I have a motion to approve item 4C? Motion by Matt Sampson, second by Joe Blackwood. Any further discussion? Okay, we will vote. Randy Long.
Yes.
Joe Blackwood.
Yes.
Matt Sampson.
Yes.
Tori Turnbow, yes. The motion carries. That takes us to item 5, new business. Do we have no new business this evening? Item 6, reports, items of information, and board comments. Colonel Little, do you have anything for us this evening?
I just want to say thanks as always for the support and the partnership, of course, between the base and the school board and the city of Enid at large. You know, we just came off of Veterans Day, but as I was talking to former Mayor Pinkerton, he said, really, in Enid we have a Veterans Week. And as I was looking at the wing commander's calendar, he is right. There were things going on the entire week to include the weekend, and just wanted to say appreciate the partnership and the support, and thank you. I was at NOC that Thursday and met some very honorable veterans, one of whom was a Marine who served in Vietnam, so it just kind of made me proud. And I get to stand on people's those people's shoulders, right? So when I hear the comments from the students from elementary on up, that's what we're doing here, right? We're laying that foundation upon which for them to stand. And so it's a pleasure and a blessing to be at these meetings and just to hear that. My kids who are from the base, who attended the Enid schools, not mine biologically, but mine from the base, they're in good hands. And so we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Little, and thank you for your service to our country and our school district. And Mr. Rader, thank you for your service as well. Am I missing any other veterans in the room that I didn't get? Okay. Any other board comments? Okay, that takes us to item 7. Our next regular board meeting is scheduled for Monday, December 11th at 6 p.m. in the Administrative Services Center boardroom here at 500 South Independence, Enid, Oklahoma. Item 8, discussion and possible action to approve a proposed executive session to discuss the employment of those individuals and or positions listed on the attached Exhibit A and Exhibit B, possible purchase or appraisal of real property, and pending or possible litigation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Joe Blackwood.
Second.
Second by Matt Sampson. Any further discussion? And we will vote. Randy Long?
Yes.
Joe Blackwood?
Yes.
Matt Sampson?
Yes.
Corey Turnbow? Yes. And we will go to executive session at 7 o'clock.